that Hellraiser's going to win.
Wow. Okay, well, I'll predict that Lambo's going to win.
Yep.
And that way, as usual, one of us is correct.
Oh,
well, let's introduce our players, and then we can talk a bit about what we expect as far as play here in game number 1 on Pillars of Gold LE. Spawning in the top right-hand side in the blue. He is our German Zerg player, and he is representing no team. It is Lambo.
There we are. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand side, representing Clash, he is the Ukrainian Protoss player, the King of Kiev. It is Hellraiser.
That's right, Hellraiser. The King of... wait, how do you say the Ukrainian...
You have to say it the right way, or Hellraiser comes at you at night.
And what do you say?
So I say Kiev. It's K-Y-I-V. If you say Kiev, K-I-E-V, Hellraiser will show up at night in your house when you're asleep, and he will hit you with a pillow.
See, that's interesting. There was a big debate in the U.S. a while ago because we had, of course, some dealings with the Ukraine that may or may not have been totally cool and totally legal. But apparently in the States, the intelligence community told us that Kiev is the Russian way to pronounce.
Yes,
the
that
name.
is correct.
And if you say, and apparently in the States, we apparently call it Kiev.
Yes.
Like as though it's K-E-E-V, Kiev.
Yes.
It's not actually how it's spelled, but so that's.
No.
I would have called him the King of Kiev, but I remember that was a big political talking point a few months ago.
Pronunciation.
We had a bunch of hearings, and everybody's like, "What the hell is Kiev?" And all these guys who actually know what they're talking about were like, "Okay, we're actually right. Everyone is wrong. Shut up."
So this game has started completely standard.
Yeah.
Was it a Nexus first, actually?
It looks like it. Very fast Nexus. Out of
Hellraiser is not expecting any cheese. I even said maybe he'll go cannons, and then he definitely didn't. He did the polar opposite and went for the Nexus first here. So that Nexus will be finishing off before anything else. It has been scouted, of course, here, but he did this because he knew Lambo had his natural pushback and was forced to take that on the third base after a very nice block going out early. Couple of lings now out on the map, I believe, for our Zerg player going to come across, and we will see the wall be completed by Hellraiser at around 240, and one Zealot come out to defend. And that's what you have to do when you go Nexus first.
I got a sneeze on my nose that's going to happen any second now, Grant, so you may have to talk. Oh,
okay.
No, it's going away. Never mind. It's going away. It's fine. It's going to come back later. Oh, man, I hate that so much. These lings from Lambo do get in, though, and they will spot this Stargate going down. Those lings doing exactly what they were genetically engineered to do, which is spot early Stargates.
Yeah, completely agree with you there, Creighton. And this is very, very nice because this was the earliest possible Stargate you can get. It was before Warp Prisms, before Warp Gates started. He got the gas for it. He made one Stalker to spend a little bit of gas, but apart from that, it was the earliest Stargate that you see at home. And seeing that right now means the spores are going to be within plenty of time. Usually you'd aim to get them around the 5-minute mark, but in this case, we'll probably see Lambo get them at around 4:15, maybe slightly later, just to stay safe. The first Oracle already in production, and he knows to expect it.
He does indeed. He's even got the Overlord parked here to see if there's anything suspicious coming out as far as gateways, or if maybe he's going to skip any production in the starport, but that's not going to be the case. Hellraiser getting that first Oracle out.
Yep, there we go. We see the spores go down actually at the 4-minute mark. Okay, just one so far. We should see a couple more following up very soon. And lots of drones, lots of queens here for our Zerg player. Going up to 4 queens. There we go. There are those extra spores at around 4:10. That's a few seconds out. And this is good for Lambo. Lambo's seen what he needs to see. He will be doing nothing but droning behind this. As long as he doesn't take any damage from silly play, this will be fine. We do see a Twilight Council now for Hellraiser. He will be looking to tech probably into just standard play. I'm not expecting to see glaives or anything this late. It would be very, very strange. And of course, that Oracle not getting... It is glaives. Holy crap.
Wow, you're right. So I've seen this a couple times before. This is a really unusual build, and I don't love it a whole lot. Nice kill on the Overlord, by the way, by this. Oh, never mind. Sorry, that was a... never mind, something different. The Stalker got the kill on the Overlord. Anyway, this is a build I've seen a couple times. I was like, why does the Phoenix not have a kill? Stalker in the background. Anyway, it's a build I've seen, and I don't love it a whole lot. I think basically what it is, and maybe a Protoss player can correct me, but generally, you open with Stargate, and if your Stargate gets spotted right away, then you go straight into Glaives. After that is sort of like an, okay, you caught me. I'm not doing that. I guess I'll go for Glaives instead. And the Glaive Adept attack usually just hits fairly late, maybe hoping that your Zerg opponent doesn't get any sort of upgrades, doesn't go for like roaches or some way to defend. But I'm a little worried for Hellraiser right now. He's been spotted out. He's been supply blocked or was supply blocked there for a while. Just breaking that supply block now. And going for a very late Glaives attack. He's adding on those 3 gateways, so he's up to 5 gates, which is nice. But it's going to take a lot of damage to get this back from where it needed to be. And oh man, get an Oracle that low is not what you want to do this early in the game.
Yeah, so what Hellraiser's plan right now is he's produced a couple more Oracles and continuing to produce them. He plans to send Oracles in the back and, of course, those Glaive Adepts in the front. He doesn't have a Robo, so we won't be seeing a Prism with this. So what he produces and goes with is what he is producing and going with. He will not have any reinforcements. So we should probably see, I'd guess, 8 to 10 Glaive Adepts coming in. And oh my god, Hellraiser behind this is adding in a second and third Stargate. So that is exactly what it's going to be. You see 12 Adepts. Okay, a couple more than I expected. There are 10 Roaches on the way, but the main defense now isn't going to be against these Adepts. It's going to be against the combination of Adepts and Oracles, which can do a lot of damage. I'm very surprised the Oracles are here. You can see one seems to be sitting in the main.
Yeah, this is very strange. I love the Roaches already out for Lambo, though. He's getting Roach attack, Roach speed, and the Adepts should be able to shade into the... No, they're going to cancel that shade into the main because they're covered by the links in the background. But yeah, the Stargate's finishing up, and Hellraiser counting on the fact that he's picked back this creep so often. He's been using Revelations to kill off creep tumors to try and keep Lambo in the dark as to his army movements, which has been nice. But it's not going to be... Look at that. It's not going to be Oracles here out of Hellraiser. He's just going to go mass Phoenix behind this for the lifts. And this is certainly an unorthodox army combination out of Hellraiser. Adept Phoenix.
Yeah, so what he's done now is he's forced Roaches out of his opponent. Roach Ravager is what Lambo is building, and will only be building for a good amount of time, and that's kind of what Hellraiser is relying on, because he's going to get up to probably 10 Phoenixes before he even shows them. Lambo has no idea what's going on in the back. He's probably expecting just standard Robo play behind this, because that is what usually comes behind a Glaive Adept push, is Sentries, Immortals, and all of that. And you can see here that Lambo's army is pretty good against that kind of thing, although it's quite roach heavy. When it's this many Queens and Ravagers, it's not too bad. But the Phoenix count is growing and growing. We're at 9, very soon to be 12, and that is a lot of lifts. But the Queen's coming across right now. This is a very, very aggressive attack from Lambo. Army supply is 118 to 60. Finally, the Phoenixes show they're going to start lifting the Queens and things. But what is that to do with the Roaches? That's nothing. Yeah,
there's nothing on the ground to deal with these Roaches. I mean, look at the unit counting station here. It's 4 Adepts on the ground. So even if these Phoenix lift all the ding-dong day long, Grant, they're not going to get anything done. There's simply too many Roaches here. They're going to absolutely destroy, eviscerate this third base. And like I said, even if we see Phoenix lifts all day, it's simply not enough. And we can see Hellraiser realizing that behind this. Look at his Stargate transition. He's going in for Void Rays, but Lambo is on top of it. He's got the Hydralisk Den behind this. There was no way that worked. What an unorthodox build from Hellraiser. And I'm honestly a little not surprised that it didn't quite work out for him. Lambo just played super well there.
Yeah, I really liked what Lambo did. I think it was smart. He found an opening, as we see the arms, the gun show come out here from Creighton Olsen.
My office is so freaking hot. I've got a fan, but there's only so much a fan can do, and like it's the weekend, so they don't have the air conditioner on super hot or super cold. So I'm like trying to do everything I can to stay Twitch safe, but also not sweat to death. Yeah, I can't get a much lower cut top than this, so I just gotta show off the arms. But Lambo, yeah, doing I think exactly what he needed to do in that game, which was just go mass ground. He figured out that he'd sort of been tricked into Roach Ravager, and then he was like, you know what still does a lot of DPS on the ground? Roach Ravager.
Yeah, there was just nothing. Like, no damage was done. The Oracles did nothing. The Glaive Adepts did absolutely zilch. And Lambo just went, okay, cheers. I'm just going to go. And he just went. He pulled the Queens, which dealt with anything left in the air, which was perfect. Although his creep thread wasn't great, those Queens waddled their way over and did a fantastic job. And now we are getting into game 2 of this best of 3. We have a pause.
Oh, hey, what's Lambo? Oh, the console bug, I think. Remake. All right. Well, game 2, go to Hellraiser. I was going to say about game number 1, it's a little interesting that Lambo, well, you can't, as Hellraiser, it's very difficult to give the Zerg player a hall pass to go Roach Ravager. Like, it's a very dangerous game to hand them an excuse. Say, like, hey, you know those units that you love to make because they're cheap and durable and do a lot of damage? Here's an opportunity to make them with no repercussions, and I'm going to hope you don't actually take advantage.
Just finding out what's going on. I really hope it was the pink one. That pink also is beautiful. Oh.
It's silver. Oh, not the pink one. What a bummer. What a bummer.
I know.
Yeah, it's very distracting, though. We'll remake the game and we'll see what happens. That console bug does seem to happen, I think, only with observers in-game, because it only ever happens in games that I join. So I don't have my console set to the pink or silver one, so I don't know if it's just reading off a different person's console or something. Very odd.
I reckon Trados definitely has the pink console. So
gotta be Trados. Gotta be.
I always blame him for all the problems in the world. We are getting into the matchup now, guys, on Everdream. Lambo currently leading Hellraiser. Hopefully this time all will be okay. We'll just make sure before we switch scenes or anything, so you don't see Lambo swear a lot. It does seem to be okay. We see a split. We don't see a pause. And let's get into the game. Creighton Olsen.
Absolutely. Well, spotting in the bottom left-hand side, currently up 1-0. Again, both these players looking for their first match, or for their second match win in Group A. It is our red Zerg player representing Germany and currently teamless. It's Lambo.
And his opponent in the top right-hand side, representing Clash, representing Ukraine. He is the Protoss player. His builds did not work out in game one, but he's got a lot to go yet. It's Hellraiser.
So, nice I don't know, Grant, I know neither of us have been like really professional gamers before. I don't think you've never competed in a professional video game before, have you?
I'm really good at Winnie the Pooh baseball.
Ooh, that's a really hard game to be good at.
I know.
As I recall, because there's a speedrunning community for that game, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, man, beating Tigger is actually like impossible.
The final one against Christopher Robin, he's a nightmare.
Christopher Robin, that's it. So besides your experience with Winnie the Pooh baseball,
no,
I know neither of us have been like professional video gamers before, but if you try and put yourself in the mind of Hellraiser, we've cast enough games now that we can make a good estimate. Yes. What does Hellraiser do? You know, you try this really unorthodox strategy where your Stargate gets scouted, so instead you go for late Glaive Adepts and try and add Phoenix on behind that. A very strange choice out of Hellraiser. In game number 2, do you go for something more standard, or do you just say, you know, heck with it? I tried in game 1 to do something weird. It didn't work. Let's go even weirder here in game number 2.
Yeah, I'm expecting this game from Hellraiser, if I were to be a betting man, that we see Glaive Adepts into Sentry, Immortal, standard robo play from Hellraiser. Now, of course, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But that is, if I were to be a betting man, what I would expect. Lambo was forced to take his natural in his third once again here. And it's very good if you go Glaive Adepts when you have this scenario. Because what that means is the distance for the Lings and the Roaches to travel is longer. Creep will not be spread between the 2 bases or the 3 bases by the time it hits fully, and that can mean Glaive Adepts is great. We are seeing that Twilight Council go down, so far so good on Grant's prediction, and we would expect to see a Robo in the not too distant future.
Absolutely so. As you said, Twilight Council gives you a lot of options with Protoss players. Sorry, my camera was a little stable there. I was trying to type a couple things out. Anyway, with the Twilight Council down, you do have a couple options, and a lot of it depends on how soon the Robo goes down, or and what you decide to pick out of the Twilight Council. The longer the Twilight Council goes without researching, the more chances you have of going into like DT drops, right, with those Archons. But we'll see if he goes for the Glaive Adept upgrade here, or if he just goes straight into Blink. You got options here, and I'm excited to see what Hellraiser goes for. Meanwhile, Lambo on the other side, just adding on his 3rd hatchery now in the natural position, and continuing just to drone. And look at that, Grant. Grant, you get the caster prediction thing. Prediction trophy of the day.
It makes the most sense. Everdream's a great map for this, and I knew Hellraiser would want to do something very standard this time.
Now Lambo has spotted the Robo. Is he going to move? Yeah, he's going to move forward. Yeah, and you'll also see these gateways coming down, which is another good indicator of what he's up against. Yeah,
he'll throw down a Roach Warren in a soonish amount of time. Before now, he'll feel happy to just drone. This is nice, killing a couple of Lings here, a couple of drones, probes even. May even get one more. No, Stalker gets that pot shot from downtown. Finish it off.
that probe scratched up, dinged up, but still working like my very first car in high school. It had barely any health left, but somehow it still does the job. It was a 1993 Ford Taurus,
Ooh.
and it was dark green, and it had a custom made dash cover that was like made of carpet and very ugly.
Oh, it sounds beautiful, Craig.
It was for a first car, it was great. But like that first car, the economy of Hellraiser is still pumping along, and it's not going to harm him enough to really slow down this Glaive Adept attack as we see the Warp Prism coming out. But look at Lambo with those cheeky lings scouting out ahead and seeing this coming.
He's not made any roaches yet. He really needs to get that going. He's actually opting for a spine instead. He made a roach run, but we've not seen a single roach, only 3 in the production tab. Lambo, I think you may be slightly underestimating this right now. How many gates are we looking for? 3, right? 4, okay. So this is definitely aggressive. We're going to see a whole bunch of adepts, and if this isn't dealt with, it could be a little bit sketchy. We may see some adepts dropped as others hit in different locations. Nope, just one gets picked up and then dropped again.
Yeah, it really is. However, there's a big advantage for Lambo that we haven't talked about yet, which is his creep spread. We're 5 minutes in the game, and look at his creep spread down this highway on the north side of the map. Now, the Observer out, of course, is going to help pick that back, but that creep highway is really helping him to identify where the units of Hellraiser are and how heavily he's engaging into this. Allows the Lings to stay on top, allows the Queens to rotate around, and with 7 more roaches on the way, I think Lambo is going to be just fine. Yeah, he was a little behind in production. I've got to believe that was intentional, though, because he knew he was going to see that attack when it came finally, and he was ready for it.
Yeah, Lambo did a good job. He had a lot of lings, and he played the chokes on the map. He played the map very well here. And actually, right now, a lot of these units are going to get surrounded. We're going to see them shade away. The roaches are doing a great job, though, and really, you don't want to trade adepts into roaches. We're going to see... he actually cancelled the shade, even. I think at that point, you have to commit to try and save some of these units. Now, they will get out because they are off creep. That ends up working nicely. But Hellraiser, once again, did he kill any drones? No.
Not a single drone has gone down all game yet. That 2-ling run by for Lambo, getting more damage done than Hellraiser's entire opener. And Hellraiser is committed really, really heavily to this. I mean, look at the units lost tab here. 8 adepts already going down. There's a bunch more on the map. This shade may actually do something because the Ling's a little slow to respond. It's going to cancel the shade again. You know what? I hate to bring back to our previous game, but Hellraiser right now reminds me a lot of what DNS was doing in the previous epic game we had, where he's just playing so defensively, playing so scared, and not taking the risks that you have to take to get an advantage in this series.
Behind this, we do have a couple of DTs. We expect to see a 4th go in for an Archon drop very soon. Do we have Spore Crawlers in the main? Yes, of course we do. So it is just going to be an Archon drop here. And that's nice. That has potential to force out a lot of units to maybe pick up a drone or 2. We're seeing a Mortal production beginning, a Forge go down, Blink beginning here. But the lair is on its way for Lambo. Lambo is droned like a madman, already in the mid-60s at the 7-minute mark. He'll be happy as Larry with that. But we are now seeing that drop go in, Creighton.
Happy as Larry? Is that another Britishism that I just don't know?
Yeah.
Really? How did I not run into that in my years in Britain? I like it. Happy as Larry. Archon drop, of course, mitigated immediately.
Who's Larry?
I mean, it's got to be one of those where nobody knows, right?
I've never thought about
Archon drop going to be mitigated here by the roaches. The Queen's even pushing away the Warp Prism. I will just point out really quickly, it's a little thing, but look at the discipline of Lambo right there. The Queen's focus firing that Warp Prism, even though they were under immediate danger from the Archons. Yeah. I love that. So many lesser Zerg players will use that Queen DPS on the Archons because they're desperate. You know, oh man, there's Archons down. I gotta get some damage done. But focus firing down the Warp Prism, and even though it didn't do any damage, did shell the shields down just a bit and pushed it away. It's just such a pro move from Lambo, and one that you don't see called out enough.
Yeah, Lambo currently 1-1. This will be a very, very big win for him, as we said before the series started. He's 1-1 in the tournament, that is, in terms of series. 1-0 in this matchup. Really needs this win because he is one of those players you'd expect to see fighting for a top 4 and going further in the tournament. A regular at BlizzCon even. He's producing lots of roaches. He's getting his Baneling Nest, which I love. He's also taking now his 4th base. Now, Hellraiser's economy is still good. He has 60 workers, which is a Protoss player you're happy with. His +1 is close to being done, and that is going to be ahead of his opponent. The Immortal count is soon to be 3, which isn't too bad. He will have Blink. He's going to have that very strong core of Sentry, Stalker, Archon, Immortal.
Yeah, the one of everything, the kitchen sink build out of our Protoss player. And most importantly, you'll have that Warp Prism back home to be able to juggle some of those more valuable units, those Immortals, those Sentries if they get caught out. I love that Lambo's opening up these rocks, setting himself up for a big attack, even splitting his army as well. Yeah, the army supply for Lambo, way in advantage. But of course, as I always say, if the Protoss player has an Immortal alive in their army, they have hope alive in their heart because those Immortals truly live up to their name. Shield Battery Overcharge goes down immediately, not going to do any damage though, and already Lambo making big pushes into the third base.
Yeah, there's a few units not fighting here. Now, Lambo's doing a very good job. The Stalker, if you're going to blink forward to take down the Overseer, that's really smart because there's a DT on the right-hand side, and we will expect to see more DTs coming in. Wow, that takes some cojones there from Hellraiser to do that, because if you blink forward and you don't hit that Overseer, all of your Stalkers die. We do see a couple of Biles coming down to try and stop this army. A blink forward once again. Actually, a Bile managing to land on an Archon there, but the DT will be tearing through this front line. There's still no more Overseer with this army.
Yeah, he made one back home. I think it's making its way to the army right now, but with no Overlord speed, with no pneumatized Carapace, those slow Overlords are going to be very, very slow to respond. They're not going to catch up with that army very quickly. And Hellraiser ends up taking a really good trade there. Remember the army supply. If you check the army supply graph before that, you can see almost twice as much army supply. Lambo up over 130 or so to the 80 of Hellraiser, and now Hellraiser still around 70, and Lambo behind where he was before. Not an efficient trade for a Zerg player, and a good defense from Hellraiser.
And Hellraiser didn't lose Immortals. I don't believe he lost any in that. No, he did not. And they're the key to this army right now. They're the key to the DPS. But now we're seeing the Banelings come in. We're seeing centrifugal, as you Americans say, hooks come in.
Boy. You know what? Heck, it's the EU qualifier. We can say centrifugal.
Yeah, centrifugal hooks.
But yeah, Banelings going to be a big difference here, especially with speed. Even off creep, speed Banelings are terrifying.
There's still only one Overseer here. Oh, if Hellraiser had been a little bit ballsier there, he could have probably taken it. Okay, now there's two. Yeah, there is two, you're right. Oh my god, the Banelings coming in. Look at the angle that Lambo's managed to find. Force field's not going to be enough. An Immortal in the front will immediately fall. There we go. Sentries go down. Now it's just going to be Stalkers and Immortals in a battery. It is a super battery, and that means that the Immortals name, they can test it all they want because they will stay alive for a very, very long time. The Immortals doing everything they can. It looks like there's only one left here to the north side. He's going to blink forward again to try and take down some of these units. The blink is... Actually, this is looking good for Hellraiser, no? It's very close still.
He did lose an awful lot of Immortals here. Two of the Immortals going down, and now the Shield Battery Overcharge is over. Things looking better and better for Lambo. He even almost snipes the Warp Prism there. Doesn't quite get it, but he was focus firing down those Immortals really efficiently, and that was a really good idea from Lambo. And yeah, the Link's going to sweep in behind this, and now he's going to the Hellraiser's just counting on his micro to save it. But with good focus fire, his DPS was enough to take down those Immortals, even with the super battery. So that's going to force the third base to evacuate. And while Lambo maybe pushed back here, look at Hellraiser's army supply down from 75 to 30. And while he has held, I think Lambo just needs to sit back for a minute, remax up on roaches, and really just push one more time, and he should be able to get it. He wasn't able to break his opponent this time, but he certainly bent him until he almost snaps.
The only positive right now for Hellraiser is that his +2 is very close to being done, and +2 is huge in these matchups. There are no armor upgrades. The Baneling count was also, of course, reset. We're now looking at 2, which is great. There are still 23 Roaches and 11 Ravagers, which is a healthy amount of Ravagers. Those Ravagers are going to be a real problem. This is going to be a very difficult micro fight here. Hellraiser will lose his base. Cancel Hellraiser. Cancel. Good boy. He's cancelled both of those buildings. He really needs every penny he can get right now. There's an Archon on the way as that Templar Archive did finish up, so those slightly more efficient costing Archons come in. Is that battery overcharge back available? There's no battery available even. So now this is going to be micro. GG is called. Hellraiser's not even going to try a micro. Come on, Bogdan. And Lambo takes a